Well, as you can see, I bought another Hideous art project, and more on that in a little bit here, but it is time to be on the road again, and time to go to another Florida card show, and this one's out there. This is about an hour and a half from my house. I've never been there before, but it is called the Spring Hill Collectibles Showcase, and it is just a one-day show, Saturday, from 9 to 4. It's at the St. Joan of Arc Parish Hall in Spring Hill, Florida. Now, you can see on the flyer there, it says up to 70 tables of vendors, which, you know, I'm always a little bit cautious about that because that could mean 20, that could mean 50, that could mean they actually reach the 70. You never really know, but I felt like this one was pretty packed and I was pretty pleased overall. Here's a look real quick at the entrance and the parking. Make sure you follow the signs because I think I ended up in the wrong lot. Almost ended up in a church service, but found my way to the front of the building here. Like I said, it's the St. Joan of Arc Parish Family Hall. So overall, I was impressed with the venue. I'm going to give you some of the pictures of that here that you can see. I'll do a pan, but I thought it was pretty spacious. There was plenty of room in there. There were plenty of people that I hadn't seen before. And then even in the back, there was a food service. They were doing breakfast and lunch, which was pretty cool. All right, so as usual, my goal here is to give you some of the sights and sounds, as well as to document some of my pickups in the process. And speaking of pickups, I might as well go right into that here first thing. Okay, so picked this up at the very first table for $5, and I posted this on Instagram, and a lot of people were just really confused about it. But I think it was Super Break that put this product out, and it was pretty hideous. But anyway, the idea was usually they put a card up here. A lot of times it was just a base or an insert. In this case, it's an autograph, which I don't know if you can see here. There are kind of creases around the window. There is a big dent there. So it's not a pristine autograph, and I'm kind of worried about how it was mounted in there. But then they also put a piece of a game-worn item in there, which, you know, a lot of times it's like, all right, how do we know much about that particular piece? So anyway, they bought this shooting shirt from Gray Flannel, and it's got the Steiner cert number on there as well. So this was used in the 2012 preseason, and it's the Adidas logo from the top for Carmelo Anthony. So it shouldn't surprise you that this is probably going to get dismantled as well. I mean, I just can't see keeping a piece like this, especially one that I purchased at $5. So I think hopefully if I can get this, see how this is mounted, but I plan on trying to carefully take this card out, hopefully salvage it for my PC. So if it doesn't end up perfect, that's fine. And then maybe making some sort of, you know, this could be my first attempt at a custom relic card that I do myself with this material right here. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so at the same table, they had a box with just tons of New York stuff. And I ended up getting these 4 cards for $20 total, which I thought was a really good deal. So I've got this Allen Houston Immaculate Patch Auto. I want to say that's 2013. Oh no, later than that. Looks like 2014. So that alone is probably worth $20. This base here, it's got Mike Piazza and Derek Jeter, but if you look closely at it, notice the date there, October of 2000. So if you know, it's October, it's got to be late playoffs, right? If it's the Mets and the Yankees, then that is the Subway Series, right, in 2000, so it lines up. So, and I looked it up. This is Game 1 of the 2000 World Series. So a Jeter World Series relic. Not too bad, right? This I just liked. It's Michael Conforto and Cespedes, I believe, is the other player there. Cheap little patch. And then I don't think I've ever owned a baseball button, and I've always wanted one. So this one of Mike Sweeney. Nice looking button, numbered 10 out of 12. All right, time to hit the floor again. A little bit of an inception moment there. You see I was walking by someone that was recording with their camera as I was recording with my camera. But anyway, I want to give you some of that digging footage now that I have that GoPro out. And I have about 5 minutes of footage from this box, and I think you might enjoy that. So I'll upload that as a separate YouTube video, and I'll give you about, 30 seconds or so here. But this was a nice multi-sport box with relics, with rookie cards, with numbered cards. Lots of good stuff in there. And one thing that I ran into, not just at this table necessarily, but at some of the other tables there, is that stuff was not all priced, which, you know what, that's not uncommon for a card show. But the issue here was there was stuff from all different price points, so the dealer maybe didn't know what all they had in there, and I was digging out some of the rare stuff, and then we were having to look up each individual card. So, and in this case, I'm essentially doing the work and then finding the rare cards for them. So, not the first time that's happened. I'm not complaining. It's just something, it's just the reality, right, of going to card shows and digging through these value boxes. But something to keep in mind if you're at a show and you don't see pricing. You kind of have to get a feel for it early on, or you're going to spend a lot of time digging through something and maybe not have anything to walk away with as a result. So I'll give you a few more seconds of this footage here, and then we'll move on to some of the other things that I picked up. All right, so this card was sitting at a table. I thought it looked like Mickey, like an old version of Mickey, although it still looks a little off. But I asked the seller, I said, hey, what is this? What's up with this? And he explained. He said it was an old Japanese card from the 20s, which I'm not sure if it's that old or not. I still couldn't find much about it. And he said 25, and I countered with 20, and he said he'd take that. So even when I came home, I looked it up. There were older cards, I think in the 40s, called Menko, M-E-N-K-O. I'm not sure if it's one of those. I really can't find much about these. So if you know, I don't think it's a strip card, but maybe it is. I know I've dealt with some of those in the past. If you know more about this, please drop that in the comments. I'd love to know. All right, so you might remember the flyer that I showed you earlier. It mentioned comics, it mentioned vintage toys, it mentioned Funko Pops, it mentioned Pokemon, it mentioned Magic. All of that stuff was here. It maybe wasn't as much as the sports cards, but it was definitely represented, including Hillary and Bill here in this quarter box. But you guys know that I'm there for the basketball cards, so I ended up running into another box that I enjoyed, so I turned on the GoPro again. Once you get past the rookies there, you'll see there was some numbered stuff. I ended up not picking up this Pau Gasol, even though I set it aside, but this box had 2000s numbered. It had relics, it had autos. That's right down my alley, so I went ahead and took some footage of that. If that's not what you're into, go ahead and skip forward about a minute or so, and you'll see the last of my pickups. All right, and then finally, as I was leaving, about to walk out the door at a table, I saw these packs here, and just out of curiosity, I said, hey, what do you want for those? He said $1 a piece. He didn't quite have a change for 20, so I paid $3 for both of them. Not really concerned about the 91, 92 Skybox, but I thought, hey, it's cheap. But I did notice this one here. Take a look at who's on the top of this pack. And no, it's not that, the main rookie where he's holding up the jersey, but it is. I think it's card 310. So an 89 Hoops pack with David Robinson on the top. I thought that was a nice little cheap piece of hobby history. All right, so overall, I would say this was a successful show for me. It was well worth the 1.5 hour drive each way. I wanted to see some different dealers. I wanted to see some different cards, and I accomplished that. And also it had, I don't know how you would describe it, like an old school card show vibe to it. So that was worth it for me. Now, you'll want to stay tuned because I did dismantle that art card that I showed you at the start of the video, so stay tuned for that later this week. In the meantime, remember there are new episodes of the audio podcast every Thursday, and as always, thanks for watching.